Using automation in your marketing strategy helps to eliminate back and forth manual tasks, which will ultimately give you back more time while serving your clients more too. Hello, sunshine, and welcome back to the Gold Biz Podcast with me, your host, Rachel Traxler. So, not only is this going to help you organize your back end, it's going to help you create a client experience that you're confident in knowing each of your clients is getting without taking up more of your precious time while serving your clients and loving on them well, too. And a key to automating your marketing is just figuring out which tasks feel repetitive to you, things that you can take off of your real-time task list that you feel like you can automate while still like customizing and giving that personalized connection as well. So that's something that we're going to talk about in today's episode. So before we get started, please leave a review on the Gold Biz podcast so that I can see like what you're loving the most about the episodes, and also then I can share the love in return. And I just love seeing all of your guys' thoughts on the podcast. But we really dive in around here. I got a lot to cover in this one. So I like to keep things short. Grab a notes app. We are diving in how to have marketing automation in your business. Number one, starting with lead capture or just how you're gathering and getting inquiries. So to take away some of that back and forth communication and avoid missed messages or like missed inquiries, make sure that all of your funnels lead to your inquiry or your contact forms so that you can get those leads without you even like having to do anything. And I know most of us photographers already use something like a CRM that we have our contact forms hooked up to and submitted to. But if you don't, this is a really good way to just like kind of automate that lead generation, just making sure to take that off of your hands there. I personally use Honeybook. Love it so much. That's just something that I don't even have to worry about. I know it's getting connected. I know that in the way I respond, I just have to like basically click a couple things and I'm sending that response in a timely manner in a way that I know is serving them well. So that's really nice for me to just know that that's kind of taken off of my plate. And a question I get asked a lot from my students is, should I have multiple contact forms for different types of sessions? My opinion is that there's no right or wrong answer, but I think the simpler and easier it is for someone to just get in contact with you, the higher your inquiry rate is going to be. So if you can just have one inquiry contact form that then you can differ and funnel people after they fill it out, I think that's nice so that people aren't filling out the wrong form. So they're not filling out a family session form when they really want to fill out a wedding form. And that also positions you as more of an expert at what you're doing and your art in general if you just have one form and then you can funnel this after them. And I say this because I've had multiple forms in the past personally, and people end up filling out the wrong one. And then I just don't get the correct information to them. It gets confusing. For them, it's not as seamless of an experience. So that's why I suggest that. So have one really efficient and solid inquiry contact form, and then you can choose to put them in the appropriate workflow and funnel on the back end after that. Now, another way to automate your marketing ideas is to just have autoresponders. And these can be annoying. I know. Like this isn't like the most ideal like response, but just hear me out. This is my hear me out thing. They will get immediate responses with links, resources, guidance, and direction from you on more things that they can view, things that they can consume, how they can get in contact with you, maybe your preferred form of communication, your office hours, your response times, etc. All of these things. And this is just another form of setting boundaries and expectations from the very start. So although, yes, they might be annoying, they are a good thing to have and to automate into your marketing so that when they are done efficiently, they could answer some questions that don't require your real-time attention to answer. You might be able to help solve someone's problem without even having to like respond back to them right away. By the time you do respond, people might say, oh, well, you already actually gave me the answer that I was looking for. Thank you. So that's just something for you to look into. You can have an autoresponder on all the time. You don't necessarily just have to have it when you go on vacation or when you're out of office or when you're traveling. You can have one, but you can also switch it up depending on the season or the month or the time of week, the time of year. Like you can switch things up. And so you don't have the same one all the time. So that's just an idea you can do there. And then another way to automate your marketing is just having event reminders. So within your CRM, so like Honeybook or Calendly, Airtable, Google Calendars, whatever you use, create an event reminder for their scheduled sessions or meetings with you. So like phone calls or like photo sessions that you have. And you can go into that specific event you have. I'm thinking in terms of Honeybook. You can write out the instructions of the links that they need. You can put your phone number. You can put where they can join the call if it's a call session. You can say what to expect, how long it will be. If it's an in-person session, you can put the location and the address and where to meet to be 10 minutes ahead of time. Like whatever information they need to know for whatever type of session or phone call or meeting that you have with them, they can come as prepared as possible for their session or for their call with you, and you won't have as many questions to cover on the call or things to go over and prep for the session because you've already done that and you've already set that expectation, that boundary. And you know what's going to happen is they're going to respect your time even more too. And they're going to say, oh, I know this phone call was only scheduled for 20 minutes, so I'll be quick. And I know I've taken up your time, so I respect your time. I'll let you go. Like people just respect those boundaries more when you can have all these things written out and prepped and sent to them ahead of time. It's really, really nice. And then another way you can automate your marketing is having a client onboarding sequence. So this is something that I love to do just to make sure like your potential clients don't have buyer's remorse and you're giving them that instant gratification. So not only having your entire workflow automated, but especially your onboarding, I find is super, super important. And I know this is a time where a little more customization goes into play here on the onboarding phase of your workflow. But the best you can do is just have these parts automated. And then that way you can go in and customize things a little bit. So it's a little bit less real time work for you up front. And you have like heavy workload done for you. And you can just go in and do the fun part of customizing. I'm interrupting my own episode to give you a quick glimpse into my signature coaching program created for established photographers wanting to double to quadruple their prices, book their highest package, and bring in inquiries consistently. This is my high-level container of go-to photographers who are making huge waves in the industry. And the biggest difference in this program is that we get a full 12 months together for deep dive transformation, weekly coaching call support, 4 coaches in the program to deep dive into specific topics, and a content retreat all included in one program. And I always say, if you can book one extra wedding from your year in the program together, you're going to see your ROI. And it's just the weekly norm wins for my students. So I'm fully confident that you're going to be able to do that and way, way more. And this is an application, phone call, and acceptance process only type of program. So if you are curious if this is the right next steps for you to just blow up your business this year, you can fill out the application at racheltraxler.com/apply or get the link in the show notes. I'll be in touch shortly after you fill it out so that we can talk through together if this is the right fit for you. I'm very honest with people and I want this to be a great fit for everyone involved. That's just my heart behind the way I do this process. And I also think that's why my students just see so much success in this program. So don't just be an information consumption overload this year. I want you to be an action taker and start implementing change into your business. So again, if this feels aligned to you, fill out the application at racheltraxler.com/apply to apply for my Passion to Profit coaching program. So I want you to think about putting yourself in your client's shoes. They just booked their photographer. They just made a huge investment in you as their photographer. What do they want to know? What do they want to know what's next in the process? What do they want to know of what to expect from you? You don't want to give them buyer's remorse at all. You also don't want to overwhelm them either. So you want to find a good balance by providing them the right information at the right time that is very important in this phase. I want you to look at the information that you're providing them right now and seriously ask yourself, do they need this bit of information right now? Like right at this very second in this process with me? Or is this something I can give them in a week? Can I give this to them in 2 months? Can I give this to them before I deliver their photos, after I deliver their photos. Look and see and be intentional with every single piece of information you're giving to them, because you don't want to have wasted real estate. You want to be intentional. So really look at that. That's like my little homework assignment task for you for this episode, one of them anyways, is to just make sure that you are sending very intentional information at the right time. And then also making sure that you schedule your workflow to be automated and triggered after certain things happen. For example, so maybe they choose their package, you send their contract or their invoice, and then their automation is triggered. Maybe once they sign and pay their contract and invoice, that's when it's triggered. That's when they get their email, their welcome email. Then a day later, they get their engagement session scheduling email. Then a day after that, they get their engagement session prep email. And then they get funneled into the nurture sequence phase of the workflow after that. Now, that's just an example of what maybe a little breakdown of an onboarding workflow looks like. And if you want, I'll make sure to link in the show notes how to get the exact breakdown of my exact workflow broken down into phases, the 4 phases I use: the booking phase, the onboarding phase, the nurture phase, and the delivery offboarding phase. So making sure that all 4 of those phases are set up, because so much goes into each of those phases. So make sure to just look at in the show notes for that link so that you can get it and kind of look at it and see and compare how it compares to your workflow that you have right now too. But when you can automate these things, it honestly just takes away a lot of back and forth so that you don't have to spend as much time scheduling and emailing and figuring out things manually. It just saves a lot of time, which kind of goes into my next one, is the nurture sequence. This is definitely like the nurture phase of your nurture workflow is so crucial and it's so important. And this is one of those things that I really love to automate. And it's so easy to automate your nurture phase. And it should be automated so that you don't even have to think twice about it or even attempt to remember where everyone is at in their journey with you. This is just going to ensure and give everyone an awesome client experience while putting some automation in your marketing as well. And you can get creative with these too in your nurture sequence. And you can be sending emails out once a month, maybe once every other month, maybe a couple here or there. What information are you providing them? What resources are you giving them? Maybe you are looking at a wedding timelining and knowing, okay, 8 months out, you better have those save the dates ordered, or at least thinking about ordering them, because at 6 months out, you have to send them out to your guests. Stuff like that, that you can kind of help give little nudges and little reminders, but not even just reminders that overwhelm them, but just say, hey, you have to send out save the date soon, but good news. This is where I suggest ordering save the dates, or even better yet, hey, here's my template that you can plug and play your own photos and order your own save the dates from this template that I created for you. You're providing resources for them. So you're just looking for ways that you can elevate and serve within your nurture sequences too. And the cool thing about that is if you were to create your own Canva template of a save the date template, you just have to create a couple and create that once, put it in your workflow, and you're providing them this resource over and over again that you only created once. So that in itself is some automation as well. Another thing that you can automate in your marketing are upsell campaigns. And this is a perfect follow-up from the nurture phase, because a student recently asked me how she cannot feel like so salesy on a phone call talking about upsells or a la carte options, albums, all of that. And my answer to that was, you shouldn't even be talking about those things during the phone call portion of your workflow. That's why it feels salesy. That's why it doesn't feel natural. That's not something that you should be talking about at that point in your workflow. I think your nurture phase is the best place to be presenting and speaking about your add-ons, about your upsells, about additional services you offer, about albums, all of those things. And all of those things will be automated into your workflow. So you could just be creating more income by upselling at any time throughout that process without even realizing it, or have to do it in real time or do it over the phone. You can be intentional about the way you're setting up some upsell campaigns in your nurture workflow. And those upsells can come at any time. You don't have to sit down and have a conversation with someone and try to feel like you're pitching and selling additional services or add-ons. Those things are just going to be worked within your workflow. So definitely think about creating some upsell campaigns in your nurture phase workflow. And then another way to have some marketing automation is gathering testimonials. This is something that you can automate into your workflow. And yes, having strong and good testimonials is marketing, and it's a free way of marketing too. People are going to see that. They want social proof, like feel valid and seen, and they want to see what other people are saying about your services. So, testimonials in itself is a huge marketing opportunity that you shouldn't be sleeping on. So, getting reviews and testimonials could absolutely be something that can be automated in your workflow. And newsflash, just saying, it doesn't always just have to be at the end of your time and experience with somebody. I recently just got like the kindest review from someone after our engagement session, and it talked about their booking and onboarding experience and how awesome and seamless it was. And then how they, after making that big purchase and investment in me, having that like reassurance right after just really made like solidified their choice in choosing me as a photographer. So I was like, okay, well, I need a review on that of what you thought about the booking process, because a lot of people reading your reviews are in that exact same place. They are looking for a photographer to book. So they don't want to know necessarily about how awesome creating an album was, or how awesome it was looking at the photo gallery after the wedding day. Those are all really important and cool things, but that's not where the minds are at of people reading these reviews, because they're reading them looking to book a photographer. So if you can have testimonials talking about how easy it was to book you and how awesome and seamless the process was for it, that's going to probably resonate more with people who are trying to book right now. But again, you shouldn't manually always have to ask for reviews and testimonials. These can be automated within your workflow. So think about where you're asking for testimonials along the journey of your client's journey, and think about how you can have that automated as well for yourself. But I think all of this to go to say, I'm all for automating as much as you can in your business to just save you time so that you can work less and put more energy into other areas of your business that are more like income generating activity, so that you can have some things running for you on the back end seamlessly that you don't have to have real time for. But let's not forget that we are service-based providers. We are real humans providing an art and a service to people, that it needs to be valued in connection and with other human beings, especially as photographers. So honestly, the true magic happens when you can automate without making people feel like you're automating. And I think there's a magical balance between the two. That's something that I help like audit for my students as well, to make sure, hey, let's run your business really efficiently, but let's make this sound more like you. Let's plug more of your own brand voice, your tone of voice, your copy, and your messaging in this to make it more you, because I know you. I know my students well. And I know you, and I know that this is your brand voice. So let's plug this and make this more customized to you. But let's automate it so that you can have more time to focus on maybe more lead generation, or focus on increasing like having a better workflow. All of those things you can put more energy into. So it is a balancing act. And while automation is amazing in your business, I'm a big fan, I think you should do it. I think it's a fine line, and you also need to be a human as a service provider and find that balance as well. So if this is something you're listening to and thinking, oh, I would love to implement all of these things in my business while still being a human and implementing my own brand voice, I would love to talk to you. So if this is something that you have wanted help with, you want my help, I would love to talk to you. Go to racheltraxler.com/apply. Fill out the little form, and if I feel like it's a good fit, we can talk on the phone and we can connect deeper. I can help you through that, and we can talk about what that would look like for you. But I really hope that this episode was helpful. I love all things automation, business side. So if you loved this episode as much as I did, make sure you screenshot it, share it to your stories, and tag me at Rachel Traxler so that I can see which episodes you are loving the most, and then also share the love in return. But thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you so much. Keep shining, and we'll see you next time.